Welcome to module number 6, the P3o Practitioner examination. We shall do a sample exam and I shall give you some tips and tricks along the way, even before we move on. So the objective of this particular module is to take you through a sample exam paper. In the sample exam, in the practitioner exam, you would be tested on 4 key syllabus areas. You shall be tested on why have a P3o, and you will be tested on how to operate a P3o, including tools and techniques. And syllabus area 3 is implement and re-energize. And syllabus area 4, in which you would be tested, would be models and train tailoring. May I request you to kindly go through the sample scenario paper prior to attempting this particular module, because the scenario would kind of give you the context in terms of the case study for the sample exam. So let's kind of dive into the first question, syllabus area number 1, why have a P3o? Now, syllabus area number 1, or rather question number 1, is broken into multiple parts. And let's kind of start off with part A. Part A, question number 1. So what I shall do, I shall read the question for you, and I would pause for a while. You choose the right answers. Perhaps you could keep a sheet of paper with you and choose the right answers, and I would showcase the right answer for you and provide you with the reasoning or the rationale for the right answer. Let me read out the question for you. Question number 1. Which 2 costs should be included in the business case for the proposed interim P3o model? The correct answer for this question is option D and option E. The reason why option D is correct, it's because ongoing costs of running a P3o should be considered along with ongoing benefits in the business case. And option E is correct because the program office is part of the proposed P3o structure, and training costs for those staff should be considered. Whereas when you look into options A, B, and C, they are either a part of the project or program cost or as a part of the operating cost, but they don't kind of fit into the costs that would need to set up a proposed interim P3o model. So please do keep a note that oftentimes there could be options that could confuse you to take a right call, and please keep the perspective of what really goes into the business case of the proposed P3o model as against the cost that goes into the business case of a particular project or a program or as a part of the operational costs. Let's move on to question number 2. Which 2 costs should not be included in the business case for the proposed interim P3o model? The correct answer for question number 2 is options A and C. Option A is correct because this should appear in the business case for a particular project. In this particular example, there is a project in the scenario called training staff members. So that would be a cost that would go into that particular project cost, and it would not go into the business case for the proposed interim P3o model. And the reason why option C is correct is because this is a benefit expected from a particular program in the scenario called Retail Rationalization Program, and should be in the business case for that particular program. So please keep those ideas in perspective, whereas options B, option D, and option E go into the business case for the proposed interim P3o model. Let's move on to question number 3. Which two statements should not be included in the vision statement for the proposed interim P3o model? The correct answer for question number 3 is options B and option C. The reason why B is correct is because this is the measure of success for the programs, not a measure of success for a P3o model, and therefore should not be included in the P3o vision statement. It's more a component of a program, not the component of the P3o model. And the reason why option C is correct, it is because the vision statement should not contain this particular level of detail about staffing, as it would have no relevance as a means of engaging stakeholders, and therefore should not be included in the P3o vision statement. Whereas options A, D, and E are elements that would go into the vision statement. So it's good to kind of differentiate in terms of what goes into a vision statement and what really does not go into a vision statement. So towards that end, it's good to kind of know the various artifacts that we produce as a part of the proposed interim P3o model. A few examples would be a target operating model or a blueprint document, and good to kind of differentiate what really goes into which particular document within the P3o context. Question number 1 under part B. Let me read the context for this particular question. Using this scenario, as I stated earlier on, it's important that you study the scenario prior to attempting the questions in this sample module. Answer the following questions about the business case for the proposed interim P3o model. So this is a question type where they are testing your understanding of what goes into the contents or the various template headings of a business case document. So here you have a couple of columns. Column number 1 is a list of statements included in the business case, and column number 2 is a selection of headings from the business case. From each statement in column 1, select from column 2 the business case heading under which it should be recorded. In other words, you would need to pick up each of the statements in column 1 and map it to a relevant heading in a business case document. Please also note that each selection from column 2 can be used once, more than once, or not at all. So I would give you some time to map the elements in column 1 to elements in column 2, and then I would give you the answers and explain the rationale. Now the answers for question numbers 1, 2, and 3 are the following. The answer for question number 1 is A. The establishment of the proposed interim P3o model will enable Buy It All to focus its investment in the rescue package on the elements which offer the highest strategic value. Now, this is more an objective, a very high level objective of why we would need to have this P3o model in place. So when we create a business case, we need to kind of have objectives in terms of what is it that we would like to accomplish. This kind of fits into that particular heading. So number 1 would be A, which is more an aim and objective. Number 2, use of facilitated workshops at the start of each program or project in the rescue package will reduce startup timeframes by 10%, which is more benefit. So it kind of goes into the cost benefit analysis. The keyword being reduction in time frames by a particular percentage. That's usually an indication that it's a benefit. So you can kind of watch out for some of these keywords and map it to a relevant option. And the last one, within 24 months of implementing the proposed interim P3o model, Buy It All will improve its portfolio maturity level. Now, this is more an aim. So you could kind of map number 3. Apologies, let me just use the arrow tool in the annotations. So it's more again an aim. So please kind of look out for terms like will improve and will enable. These are some keywords that you could kind of look out for when you map it to the aims and objectives of a particular investment. So I hope this particular rationale has helped you in mapping the contents of a business case to a relevant heading. So my recommendation would be, please feel free to go through the appendices in your P3o guide, and one of the appendices has got some contents of a business case document, and that will really help you in understanding the contents of a business case. Let me just flash the answers for you too. I have already given you the rationale, but these are the correct answers and the appropriate rationale. They kind of are pointing you to a particular appendix. Appendix B is an appendix where you have the contents of a business case. So my recommendation would be to be familiar with the contents of Appendix B.